Hey everybody, welcome back to History Student Reacts. Today we'll be watching Rome Season 2, Episode 1, Passover. Yeah, this is a big one. It has been more than a year since I finished my reactions to Season 1 of HBO's Rome, and I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this. I'm very excited to get into it, but before I do, let me preface this by saying if you haven't seen my reactions to Season 1, you should absolutely go back and watch those. They'll be linked down below on YouTube, but if you want to see the full unedited reactions, which I can't post on YouTube due to copyright, then they are all up on my Patreon, which is also linked down below. That's also going to be the policy for this season. I'll post edited versions of the reactions on YouTube, but if you want the full unedited versions early of each episode, then they'll be on my Patreon, which once again you can find down below. Now, with all of that out of the way, I'm really excited, so let's jump right into this reaction. Oh wow. Right where we left off.
Morning, Consul. How goes your day?
Wait, really? Oh my goodness. Wow, talk about a quick start. Now, to be clear, I know, Mark Antony was in a dangerous position following the assassination of Caesar. He had to get his ass out of there. But, and you can please correct me on the history if I'm wrong, because it's actually been a while since we've covered Roman history, so I am a little foggy. But I'm not sure if we have evidence that, he was literally assailed out in the open like that, or at least... he was assailed several times throughout his life, but I don't know if he was jumped like that in that moment. Maybe we have written evidence of a scene like that, but I don't necessarily think so. But it is representative of the very dangerous position he was in. That was true. Things were very much shaken up after the murder of Caesar.
I am so proud of you.
Yeah, of course you are.
Our name is redeemed. The Republic is saved.
It was horrible, Mother. He wouldn't die.
But he is dead now, eh?
He tried to speak to me. No words came out.
We must be strong now. The Senate will look to us for leadership. The people will need a firm hand. Are you up to the task?
It's an interesting portrayal. Servilia, as we saw, she's sort of the spurned lover archetype, right? She was Caesar's mistress. He spurned her, and she was very upset. And her revenge has been wrought by Brutus, her son. But he, at least in this depiction, has a far more complicated relationship. We know in real history, right, Brutus was very close to Caesar. As depicted in the show, Caesar was a bit of a mentor to him. And so it was a massive betrayal, frankly. Whatever you think about it politically, it was a personal betrayal. And a lot of those guys involved in the assassination knew Caesar, to varying degrees. Some, they all knew him to some degree, but some very closely. Now, I don't know how torn up Brutus actually was, but in this depiction here, we can see he's having a hard time. What course of action are you going to pursue here, Vorenus? I'm worried.
Whose child is this?
It's his shoes! Let him go! Let him go! Please have mercy!
Oh, man. God.
I curse you all! By all the gods below, I curse you to damnation.
Okay, not great. Frankly, could have been worse. I was really worried there was going to be another death on our hands. And I mean, look, Vorenus, she didn't murder Niobe, right? She took her own life, but let's be honest, if she hadn't, I think he might have. I mean, he did obviously love her, but he was furious, extremely angry. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I hope he comes back to what's left of his family. And her, I think her last words, the boy is blameless, which is true. As painful as it may be, it's not the kid's fault.
Mother?
There's our boy.
Leave him alone.
Gods, not you as well. Crying will not help us.
Crying. I'm angry.
Oh my god, dude, I love Octavian. We've seen this kid has got a brutal streak to him, definitely a pragmatic streak. I don't know if he's... Wait, no, he's not completely emotionless, we know that. But he's definitely a man of action, a man of pragmatism, and not a man of feeling and emotion. So he's like, alright, mother, I get it, you're upset, but we gotta go. And of course, as we know, Octavian, at least in the long term, he is going to be the one to step up.
Just devour that bitch pig Servilia. What a fool I was. If I'd not told her of Vorenus and his wife.
Listen to me. We must never speak of our part in this. We may be mistaken for complicity.
Wise.
Do you understand?
I'll see her eaten by dogs.
We may hope.
The street's safe. Can we get out of the city?
We can. We should wait a while before taking any action. We do not have a clear view of the position. Antony may
If Antony
well...
were alive, he would come to me. Or send word, at least. We must assume Antony's dead.
It is quite possible.
I mean, Antony might be in a tough spot, and you and Antony weren't on the greatest of terms, to be honest.
But we cannot know that as yet.
Well, perhaps he's fled the city.
And leave me here? Never.
Okay, Atia.
Put on your travelling clothes.
Nothing fancy.
Mother, think. You heard what Servilia said. She wants you to run away.
More fool her, let her try and find me.
She will find you. You have no talent for hiding.
Castor, pack the money in the household gods.
Immediately, Domina.
Well, come along, no time to waste.
Ah, there he is. He did come.
I swear on the black stone, I will kill them all. Brutus and Cassius and Casca and the whole damn lot of them.
They're just Servilia's minions. This is all her doing. I told Caesar. I told him this would happen.
I swear, we'll piss on them as they die.
And of course, this is an element of the show that, this is a show, it's partially fictionalized, partially real, based on true events. And I think it does a good job of getting sort of the vibe of the real historical characters and events. But some parts of it are entirely fictionalized, or at least things that we don't know happened, right? So the framing of the assassination here is that Servilia was very much behind it, the mastermind, pushing Brutus in that direction, and even sort of pushing some of the other organizers. Now, in real history, as far as we're aware, that was not the case. I mean, maybe that is actually what happened, but we don't have evidence to back it up, right? The real assassination was more focused around the conspirators themselves. But of course here, Servilia plays a far more sort of key role.
I should run and hide from those worms.
Are you certain? Are you certain sure he's dead?
Oh, yeah. He's dead, all right. I was there. I saw him.
You were there. But then why didn't you stop them?
No, I wasn't there. They delayed me outside on the steps. By the time I got inside, the deed had been done. And the lictors had all run off like rabbits. That treacherous bastard Vorenus, he must have been paid off. He'd left us before we even got to the Senate House.
Not quite
He was
paid
lured
off.
away. The witch Servilia's woman told him an evil tale about his wife. Well, what did you do then?
What did I do? Well, nothing I could do. Caesar was dead. I was unarmed.
Well, I would have ripped them to pieces with my bare hands.
Oh, would you?
It's easy for you to say. You know nothing of violence. 12 mangy dogs can kill a lion.
Well, if you say so. What should we do now?
You can do as you like. I will go north and raise an army of monsters, and then I will come back here, and I will crucify every last one of those sons of bitches.
What do you mean I may do as I like? Why are you here if I may do as I like?
I meant nothing. Of course I want you to come with me.
Please, if you'd rather take some other lover, I will not protest.
No, I meant only that I cannot force you to come with me.
That's where you were these last hours, I suppose. Putting your whores into baggage
I
carts.
have no stomach for a fight with you. Not now, huh?
They're on the rocks. I think also, and we've seen this, Atia vastly overestimates her importance, often. Now, that is to say, she is important, right? She's an important member of an important family, essentially the matriarch, right? But she overestimates the role she has to play in all of this. And even in the long term, she will have influence, but of course, Mark Antony, Octavian, they're the people around who are going to emerge as these major players. Atia likes to think, well, I'm right here in the mix. I'm like the most important person here. It's like, okay, well, not quite. You're important, don't get me wrong, but you're not quite at that level.
I don't want to go north.
Oh, there you are.
The north is ghastly.
I know I didn't get us started off on the right foot, killing your man and all, and I'm sorry for that, but... Va, I'll just come straight out with it. I have a question to ask you. With permission of Venus and Mars, I ask you to be my wife.
Your wife? Married?
Married. You and me.
If you wish it so, master.
No, I'm not your master anymore. You're a free woman. You can refuse me. I won't be angry. Well, I won't be best.
It's a tough way to start a relationship. You owned her. You freed her, right? You're no longer her master. Your first action freeing her was to murder her soon-to-be husband. So it's, we've got a difficult start to this relationship.
Please, but, I won't beat you or anything. A man like me can always make good money. You'll have a roof over your head, food. I'll buy you anything you want, dresses, shoes. Is that a yes?
Yes.
You won't regret it, I promise.
It's probably her best option at the moment, It's not like she's going to have things easy on her own.
Done.
Oh, wow. That was simple. And I will say, I can't remember if this was covered in the show or not. I think it must have been, but it's been a year. But in real life, Calpurnia, well, I'm not going to say she knew something was coming, but she at least felt something was coming, right? You know, she had dreams. She felt something very bad was coming for her husband. Now, you know, I mean, I think they interpreted that sort of religiously. It might be that also there were whispers going around, and there was sort of a bad vibe that she was feeling. But she warned Caesar, and of course her worries came true. So she was someone who, once again, not that she used her vision to see this coming. It's not what I'm suggesting, but she was very worried that something bad was going to happen, and of course it did.
Look, Antony. Atia. How good of you to come, and the children.
Calpurnia, we grieve with you.
My husband is glad to receive you. You're the first to pay respect. Strange that none of our friends or family have come.
They're afraid.
Yeah, it's not that strange.
Ah, yes, that may be so.
We are going to leave the city now.
And they are genuinely upset for a couple of reasons, right? Of course, it's a personal loss, right? You don't want to downplay that. There are a lot of personal feelings involved with this. But also, Julius Caesar, he was the most powerful man in Rome. For the Julii family, his family, he was their, best shot at power and wealth and authority. And he was bringing them that, and he probably would have continued to bring them that. And now, their best chance at all those things has been taken out, right? So the family's fortune, not, economically, but more their sort of political fortune has just taken an immense hit. And, at the time, you might be thinking, they're never going to reach that level again. Because Julius Caesar had been an exceptionally powerful man. Now, of course, we know that is not the case. We have someone in this very image who will become far more powerful than Julius Caesar ever was. But in this moment, that probably seems quite unlikely.
No. It's best you come with us.
Leaving? Why?
It is not safe.
Well, that's no matter. I'm glad to die.
My dear lady.
But now that you're here to stand witness, we must read his will.
His will? No, I'm sorry, we haven't time.
It is the proper form.
We haven't time.
It is the will of a dictator of the Roman Republic.
Yeah. Hello, Antony.
Having made due provision.
And let's be honest, this is, we don't know what's going through his head, but this is not we haven't the time. Mark Antony knows that in this moment, he is the one sort of poised to inherit Caesar's position. I don't mean literally inherit Caesar's position, because the faction, Caesar's faction, has taken a great fall. Look, at this moment it's chaos. You don't know what's going to happen. But they're assuming the conspirators are going to put together their own government or whatever, right? But Antony's the one best poised to take whatever position at the top of Caesar's faction remains. Even though, we have the family members here, but Antony is the man with experience and power, and he can gather legions. He's worried that, the will might lessen his position, lessen his authority, if Caesar purposefully grants, his estate his power, whatever he has, to, say, a member of his own family, right? So Mark Antony is worried that this will is going to undermine him. You know, of course, we're dealing with sort of one faction here, but already there's struggles, even if they're subtle, within that faction.
For the well-being and security of my honest and dutiful wife, Calpurnia, etc. I leave the sum of 75 denarii to every enrolled citizen.
Oh, ridiculous. What a waste.
My name...
What a... Atia's position? Oh, ridiculous. What a waste. See, this is why Caesar... I know he was literally murdered in the end because he was an authoritarian. But remember, he was quite popular throughout his life. This is why he was popular. He knew to play to the public.
And the remainder of my estate, with all legal obligations
That's what
and
we're waiting
benefits,
for.
all property, gold, silver, and other monies, I leave to Gaius Octavian, who is henceforth to be regarded, for all intents and purposes, as my lawful son and sole heir.
And there you go. That's exactly what Antony was worried about. He was hoping maybe he'd get more of a shout out in the will, or that the will wouldn't be read, but instead Octavian has been recognized as Caesar's heir and posthumously adopted as his son.
Octavian, my Octavian.
What else?
He stipulates that the slave known as Posca, that is I, am to be given my liberty with an appropriate stipend.
I give you joy of your freedom. What else?
There are no further bequests.
Uh-oh.
I see. Well, congratulations, boy.
Power struggle. Antony is displeased.
Thank you, Posca.
Atia's very pleased.
Octavian gets everything. All of it.
He'll get nothing. It's all wax for scraping.
It's a will. It's his by law.
The law is now Brutus and his minions. Caesar's land and money will go to them.
That is so. They will...
Right, and Antony here, there's two parts to this. One is that, again, he wants to diminish the role of this will, you know, to strengthen his own position. But, on the other hand, he's, to a certain extent, he's thinking the right way, which is, you know, the law only matters as far as you can enforce it, right? And if they believe that Caesar is going to be condemned and, you know, his property, his fortune, whatever, is going to be stripped, then of course that doesn't mean much. Though I will say, even if that is the case, that will alone, you know, naming Octavian as his heir and posthumously adopting him, that holds a lot of symbolic meaning. Like I said, Caesar, though he was murdered in the end, was a very popular man, and I'm sure throughout this season we'll see as his legend sort of grows in death. And Caesar himself named Octavian the inheritor of that legend, essentially. So that means something.
Will declare his death a rightful tyrannicide. His will and all his acts become null and void. His property will be intestate.
They cannot take the name.
Oh, no. That's all yours. Much good may it do you.
It will! In the long run, it will.
Why now?
But in the moment, it doesn't seem like it. But Octavian's thinking.
I may have to take Pernia along by force, so don't be alarmed if she makes a clamor, huh? Hey, send for your mistress. Tell her we're leaving.
Mother, I must stay in Rome.
Hey?
I must stay in Rome. I'm Caesar's son. I must protect my status and rights.
There's blood. A proper little Spartan.
You shall have to stay also, Mother. The family must appear united.
Strange, brave, pompous little boy. We're going north.
I'm head of the family. Strictly speaking, it is for me to say where we go.
I know you're only trying to be manly. That's lovely, but now is not the time. We are going and there's an end on it.
Antony, listen. Brutus is in a legal bind. I think we can force him into making a deal with us. Go on. Brutus must declare Caesar a tyrant, else the act of killing Caesar is murder. But all the acts of a tyrant are unlawful, including those appointing Brutus as praetor, Cassius as proconsul, and so forth.
And so?
If Brutus honors the law, he loses all rank and position.
Lawyers prattle.
I don't think so. If you offer them amnesty in return...
Amnesty? I'm going to eat their livers. Amnesty.
I love, I mean, you know me, I love the politics, and we're getting into, it's being presented by Octavian here, just as his thoughts, right? That's not how it actually played out. We're talking about a lot of negotiation that happened behind the scenes between a lot of people that I'm sure we're going to see play out here. But Octavian's sort of presenting the situation we're facing, which is we're in this period of political chaos. Now it's time to decide what to do, right? Now, the conspirators, they're the ones who pushed this forward. They murdered Caesar. Do they have a plan for after Caesar is gone? Turns out, not really. They're divided among themselves. They didn't plan things out as well as I argue they should have. And so, Octavian, Antony, the Julii family, still have some space to bargain. And so, one option is to offer amnesty in order to preserve some of their status, position, and power. And we'll see how some of this plays out.
You're not following me.
Enough. You think you know better than Antony.
But you don't understand.
Juno's come, must I slap you?
If the will stands, and it might, you are mother to the richest man in Rome. If the will is broken, Sevilla has that honor.
No. Where is this damn woman? When I give you the nod, I want you to help me seize the old lady and get her outside quick. And she trusts you, nay?
Sir, with all respect...
What?
With all respect, until the will is ratified, I am bound to serve the house of Caesar. With that in mind, I must beg you not to take my mistress by force, with all respect.
Respect? You impudent toad. You'll do as I say, and I will do as I please with your damn mistress.
And, we are seeing the character of Antony here. As we know, he was not necessarily the most sophisticated political mind. He was more about power plays than political maneuvering. That's not to say he had zero political talent. I wouldn't put it at zero. But this is a very military-minded man. He's a soldier, right? And we saw when Caesar was off and Antony was left to govern, he essentially governed as a strongman, an authoritarian, in a much more blatant way than Caesar ever did. And I will say, that's something that Octavian also understands. That's how Antony is, and that perhaps it's best to disguise your authoritarianism a little bit as, well, his uncle, but his, new father, Julius Caesar, did.
Antony, we're staying.
No, thank you, master.
You've got to stop calling me that.
What should I call you then?
Anything you want. Husband? Honey.
Oh.
Caesar is dead! Caesar is dead! Caesar is dead!
Okay. Well, we move away from simple domestic life back to politics. Pullo, I wonder what action Pullo's going to take. Now, obviously, this is monumental news. The sign that big things are happening. Pullo very much had his cart, his wagon, hitched to Caesar. So did Vorenus, but Vorenus even more so, right? Vorenus actually managed to sort of move up through the political hierarchy thanks to Caesar, though Vorenus is in a, bad situation right now. Pullo, he's happy at least, but I do wonder how he's going to respond to this. He's always been a Caesar man, though more out of circumstance than ideology, to be honest. Now, we saw Vorenus struggle with being attached to Caesar. He kind of disagreed at points with what Caesar was doing. He was a bit of a staunch Republican, but he sort of was brought along anyway. Pullo, was far less opposed to what Caesar was doing. I think he liked it, but not a super, I think, ideologically or politically motivated guy.
There. See how fine she looks? She'll be well respected. A woman from good people.
Hello, children.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Immortals! Immortals, I say. You noble men have carved
here's
your names deep in
the #1 yapper of ancient Rome. I mean, I guess I feel a bit of a kinship there.
the eternal stone.
That is very high praise indeed.
I would embrace you all, but I'm desolated that you did not enlist me in your cohort of heroes to wield the Liberator's knife. What joy you have denied me.
Oh, forgive us. We rather thought you'd prefer not to know.
It is done. I cannot share in your glory. I can only applaud. Now, tell me, is the city secure?
We have 2,000 men under arms. Caesar's people have fled.
The city is ours.
Excellent. And Mark Antony, the dog, is dead, I hope.
He's not.
Mark Antony is alive. An error. I think a deep error.
We are senators, not hired thugs. Kill him yourself if you want it so.
And this is a problem that they would run into, right? So you have this group of conspirators, largely a group of senators, who wanted to kill Caesar because they saw him as an authoritarian, which he was, viewed him as a tyrant, right? But, you know, there's a lot of ways to plan an assassination, right? A lot of different ways you could do it. And there was a lot of division among the ranks of those conspirators, you know? How do we assassinate him? Where do we assassinate him? And in this case, most importantly, what do we do afterwards? One of the concerns of these senators was basically exactly what Brutus said, that we're not hired thugs, we're senators, right? We're men of a certain class. We want to do things as, you know, properly as we can. I mean, you're planning an assassination, it's never that proper. But one of the things they decided to do was to kill Caesar upon the floor of the Senate, so it would be public. Right, it wouldn't be some back alley, shady assassination. It would be something open for everybody to see. You know, a sort of open act of liberation. And then the question of what do we do afterwards came up. And, you know, some of them wanted to basically conduct a purge of Caesar's followers. Right, Mark Antony, most notable among them. But of course, Caesar did have a lot of followers. He had installed a lot of them into the Senate. And so on one end was some of these conspirators who said, look, just killing Caesar isn't enough. His faction remains. They still hold a lot of power. We need to wipe them out. On the other hand, you had some who basically said, no, you know, that's not our place. We need to kill the tyrant, and then we can negotiate, we can politic our way through the rest. Now, I suppose there is a certain nobility to that, but I will say, as I think Cicero is realizing, that puts you in a very difficult position. Yes, you have cut off... I guess I was going to say you've cut off the head of the Hydra. It's more than that, right? Caesar was more important than just a figurehead. Caesar was extremely important. So you've gotten rid of Caesar, the leader. That's a big move, but some of his movement still remains. His followers remain, some of them, Mark Antony, with a lot of influence, power, authority. You're going to have a difficult situation, you know, claiming the power you want, right? Because those who said it's not our place to conduct this purge, we should just kill the tyrant and be done with it, what they wanted to do was return to, you know, Republican politics. That was sort of their end goal. Rome, the Republic, has strayed a long way from peaceful, orderly Republican politics. It's going to take a lot to drag Rome back to that era, and frankly, it's going to take a lot more than killing one man.
Well, you know best what is the right thing to do. I must go. I'm away to the country. Another tedious lawsuit. I just wanted to salute you before I left.
Cicero knows things are going to go down. He is getting out of there. He was, of course, always a very careful man, you know, sort of a sort of moderate conservative type guy, moderate pragmatic, someone who didn't want to be there for what he imagined was to come.
Immortal liberators.
Oh!
Friend Cicero. Why so pale?
Uh-oh. Oh. Not looking great, my man.
Brother?
Oh, wow.
Vorenus.
Legionary Pullo.
What's
2nd
happened?
century, first called.
Brother Vorenus, what's happened?
She's mother to the boy Lucius. I was going to kill her. I had the knife in my hand. She did it herself.
Miseria.
Where are the children?
Gone.
Gone where?
I cursed them.
Yeah, I appreciate that Pullo's sort of being gentle with them, because you could feel that, you know, Vorenus is frankly ready to fly off the handle at any moment. This is an extremely unstable man. You know, it's you know, a little disturbing to see, honestly, right? This is a guy who's been so stable, steady, right? That's a word you could use to describe him. Someone so steady. He's been, you know, a leader, reliable, all these things, and that has kind of come to an end.
Guess into Hades.
Get some water. Brother Vorenus. Brother Vorenus. Come sit down. Let's get you cleaned up, eh?
I think that would be best. We see the parlay.
Consul Antony, I am here strictly as an impartial arbiter. I knew nothing of this disturbing act.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So first of all, you know, what a Cicero move to play, right? Now, of course, I would say, oftentimes when people tell you they are objective or impartial, that's usually not true, you know? First of all, because true objectivity, I'm not sure it's really achievable. We all have some sort of position or perspective, but Cicero's definitely the kind of guy to be like, well, I'm just here objectively. Haha, of course you're not. We just saw the last scene. And, you know, once again, we saw in that previous scene, Cicero was all, oh, I wish you'd included me. I'll just be leaving now. But now that Antony's here, he is using the fact that he didn't know to his advantage. Well, I didn't know anything about it. You know, this is the thing about Cicero. He was a pretty skilled political operator. We might see more of that in this series. He was someone who sort of wanted to tread the middle path, but someone who could be a little squirrely depending on the situation.
Oh, I was as surprised and shocked as you were, as Brutus can confirm.
Cicero knew nothing. You have lost a good friend and patron today. We are sorry.
If that monkey remains, I shall have to open his neck. He tried to kill me this morning. His presence is an insult.
You are mistaken. No one tried to kill you. It was my express order that you be spared.
Am I, Cassius? Mistaken?
We do apologize if this man's been overzealous. Go, Quintus.
Tense. Very tense.
Tell us, Antony, to what do we owe this unexpected pleasure?
Listen. Why so quiet? The tyrant is dead. Surely the people should be happy. Where is the cheering throng at your door? Where are the joyous cries of liberty?
The people fear change. The somber mood is only natural.
When they realize they are free...
I mean, that's BS, right? That is complete BS. And Antony's making a good point here. We have many examples throughout history of a tyrant, an authoritarian, being killed. And yeah, there are cheers in the streets. People gather, they celebrate. Caesar's assassination wasn't like that. I mean, sure, some people celebrated, but as I will repeat myself. As I've said before, Caesar was largely pretty popular with the people. Now, his sort of increasingly authoritarian style was not appreciated, but largely the people still liked him. The senatorial class, not a fan. Well, unless they were people that Caesar himself had installed. But the people, they liked him. And so when Caesar is killed, it isn't one of these, yeah, everyone celebrates, everyone's frightened. And of course, a big part of that is that they know that more violence is very possible. They're worried. But yeah, it's not this sort of joyous moment. People are frightened, somber. Some are sad, some grieve. And that grieving will frankly grow as time goes on, and Caesar is further memorialized.
From tyranny, the people will be glad.
The people loved Caesar. And they will hate you for what you've done.
They loved him once, as I did.
Well, some have turned against him, no doubt. It cannot be denied he was something of a tyrant. But a great many people will worship Caesar until they die. A great many. And those people are mine now.
We do not need such people. Our men-at-arms have secured the city. We've received representatives from all the best elements. The Senate is with us. The knights are with us.
The pontiffs, the urban cohorts, the lictors' guild.
The lictors' guild, very good. Only rally the bakers and the flute players, and you can put on a festival. Best wait till after the elections, though.
What elections?
Surely you've thought this through.
Yep. This is exactly what I've been getting at. I love this. I love the political dealings. So, I mean, Antony is sort of pointing out, they're saying, oh, we've got, this group and this group and this group. And Antony's like, and so what? What'll they get you? A lot of the people, they're on my side. And he's now pointing out what I've been saying. The conspirators did not prepare for this eventuality. Some of them, yes, were thinking about what would happen after Caesar died. Some weren't. I think a lot were naive, right? They just, we'll just go back to the old Republican ways. But they did not have a concrete plan, or at least not a unified concrete plan among them for what to do. And now Antony can play on that, which is, once again, the real historical events didn't exactly go like this. This is being condensed into a couple of scenes. But largely, we are sort of getting the vibe of what happened, right? This assassination goes down. The mood is, frankly, somber and frightened. A lot of people are upset. The conspirators, they're not ready to seize power. They're not ready to fill the power vacuum that's just been created. And so that gives an opening for Caesar's faction, at this point led by Mark Antony, to step in and negotiate.
If Caesar was, as you insist, a tyrant, then all his acts and appointments are nullified. I am no longer consul, you're no longer praetor, you're no longer proconsul. Elections will have to be held. That is so. Messy things, elections.
You spoke of helping us.
I did. All those that loved Caesar but hate tyranny, I may be able to bring to your side.
Why would you do that?
Neither of us can win outright, not without much blood spilled to prove the issue. I want no more blood. I want peace and stability.
How?
First, a general amnesty. Caesar is not declared tyrants, nor you declared killers. All Caesar's acts and his will shall stand.
Uh-huh.
We shall all keep our posts. It will be as if you were struck by lightning. A natural death.
I mean, you're already seeing how much this plays to Caesar's advantage, right? I mean, the man's dead, but sort of his legacy. Now, as Antony's already pointed out, he was popular among the people. A lot of people still like him. And now, you know, what someone does during their life, of course, has a big impact on their legacy. But what also has a big impact, I don't know the ratio, but what also has a big impact is how they're remembered after they die. How do people talk about them? What is written about them? How are they portrayed? And we're getting a clear example of that here. Now, Caesar is popular. It's frankly too popular for the conspirators to, you know, paint him however they want. But, you know, if Caesar is declared a tyrant and painted in this light and remembered that way, after a certain amount of time, his reputation may turn. It'll certainly have an effect, right? If we do what Antony says, and Caesar's legacy, his memory, doesn't need to be damned, then it allows for him to be remembered, yeah, maybe as an authoritarian, but still as a popular leader who the people loved. And who, yeah, maybe he was killed in the end, and we grant an amnesty to his killers, but his legacy doesn't need to be forgotten, right? So this is great for the legacy of Caesar, and great for those who follow in his footsteps. Once again, namely, in this instance, Antony.
Go on. Then a show of unity. A public funeral for Caesar, led by you and I together. We shall mourn the man and burn the tyrant.
And then?
I shall serve out the rest of my term as consul, and then retire quietly to the provinces where I will plow my fields and fuck my slaves. Just like old Cincinnatus. And the Republic shall roll on without me.
I love that.
I swear, on the Black Stone, I am done with politics.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you people play too rough for a simple soldier like me. Knives in the Senate House.
I love the Cincinnatus reference, right? Famously a man who was granted that ultimate power and decided in the end to retire and become a farmer. You know, that's a reference that someone like Cicero would absolutely love, which is why it was directed at him, right? And you've noticed there's been a couple of nods towards Cicero here when Antony talked about elections, right? Cicero, even though he has his own opinions, very much plays the role. And I think he believed he was a defender of the Republic, defender of the institutions of the Republic. And so he was someone who would say, well, we have to hold elections, you know, whatever situation we're in. Antony's sort of playing on that. The Cincinnatus reference, sure, Cicero, I haven't read Cicero's writings, maybe he did talk about Cincinnatus, but would have been someone who very much respected someone like Cincinnatus. So Antony, you know, of course, sort of snidely is pointing that out to Cicero here.
Didn't think you had it in you.
And if we do not wish to be reconciled with you?
Well, if we cannot be friends, then we shall be enemies. And I will do my very best to annihilate you.
Perhaps you would give us some time to talk this over.
Talk all you like. I shall wait outside.
What a tricky situation. I doubt they expected this.
You tried to kill him despite everything I said?
Wow. Interesting. We're getting some real dissent here. But we're seeing that misconception that I do think some of the conspirators actually had in real life. Not all of them, right? Some of them knew more would have to be done, but some of them truly believed, we kill Caesar, this is all over. It's over. We go back to the Republic. That's a naive way of thinking. And they're getting slapped with reality here. That's not the case.
Forgive me. Your scruples do you credit, but Without your knowledge, his death could not have dishonored you.
To the contrary, I would be twice dishonored. A killer and a fool.
Is your honor worth more than the Republic?
It is not too late. He's here, in your hands. I'm simply stating the facts. I do not urge you to any particular course of action.
Mr. Centrist, eh?
Nor will I take the course you do not urge.
Brother.
Right.
It is the only rational thing to do.
Broken no capital law.
Right, we're seeing that division I've been talking about between the conspirators who wanted to kill Caesar and leave it at that. It wouldn't be proper, it wouldn't be senatorial to go further, and the senators who believed that you need to go further than killing Caesar. Maybe a purge, or maybe even, of course, there was those who wanted a more general purge. The next step, right, those only kill Caesar, general purge, kill Antony, right? Those who didn't want to quite conduct a sort of general purge, but knew they had to go further than Caesar, of course the next person on the chopping block would be Mark Antony, for very obvious reasons.
And he offers a truce which will preserve the public order. We have no right to take his life.
Damn the law in his case. He's too dangerous
Damn the
to
law.
live.
You exaggerate him. He is a vulgar beast. Without Caesar, he will destroy himself soon enough.
He is
a guest in my house.
He is not in the house.
And so, first of all, there's that conception of Mark Antony, right? He's a simple man, he's a soldier, he doesn't have the... Even I said this, he doesn't have the brain for political maneuvering. Now, that is a bit of an understatement, or an underestimation, I should say. Antony's a powerful man, right? But also, as we've seen, and this isn't exactly how it went in the history, but in the show, Octavian is really the brain behind the scenes. And that is not obvious in this moment to anybody. And of course, in real history, it was not obvious that Octavian would become so important in the long term. But, in some ways, they are right. In the long term, Antony will not prove himself to be a great political genius. Fortunately, the Caesar's camp happens to have a great political genius in Octavian. Now, that's looking a little too far ahead. In this moment, Antony's in this position. Is it a good idea to let him live or kill him? I don't know. I don't think Antony was quite this exposed, actually. I mean, he did come back to negotiate with the conspirators, but in this scene, they could literally murk the man right here. I don't know if it'd be a good idea, but it's definitely an option.
Consul Antony. We shall be friends.
Friends.
That sigh of relief. Oh. What a prick. Oh, wow. Damn. I didn't expect that. Well, Antony, he doesn't let things go. And to be fair, they tried to kill him. So, I get it.
There. That's better.
I shouldn't have done it.
What's that?
I cursed my own children, Pullo. It wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
Don't worry. They'll be back. You can lift the curse then, no trouble. You didn't kill an animal on it, did you? There you go, then. The curse isn't sealed. And when they come back, you can lift it. No harm done.
I mean, of course, I don't believe in curses or nothing, but this is good, sort of friend logic from Pullo, You say, well, you didn't kill an animal on it. No harm done, When your friend is like, oh, man. And you're like, don't even worry about it. Pullo, he's being a good guy here.
Where else are they going to go? Of course they're coming back.
Tomorrow, at the 4th hour, a funeral service will be held for Gaius Julius Caesar under terms of truce and in the spirit of unity and forgiveness. Eulogies will be delivered by Praetor Marcus Junius Brutus and Consul Mark Antony.
Love this guy.
No prostitutes, actors, or unclean tradesmen may attend.
And to my understanding, he is performing, you see those actions he's making, he's performing actual, I don't know what you call it, stances? Movements that would have been traditionally performed by Roman speakers at that time, right? Which is why he's sort of moving in that way. But I love his performance. I think everyone who watches this show does.
So Vorenus went home to confront his wife, and Caesar went to the Senate, alone and unprotected.
Bastards. What I don't understand is how they knew about Nia.
Hey, I like seeing these two together.
In the first place. You and I were the only ones that knew the truth.
I told my sister, and she told Sevilla. My sister was... It doesn't matter. The jug is broken. I cannot mend it with regret.
Honesty.
I ask for your forgiveness.
Of course. You can't expect a young lad like yourself.
I appreciate the honesty. I mean, it's not like, what is Pullo gonna do, right? But he told him. I mean, I guess when, only two of you know, it's kind of like, all right, well, it wasn't me, so it was you. And Octavian's like, yeah, I told someone, she told someone.
Anyway, it's done, as you say.
You should not repeat what I've told you. It's not that I'm ashamed, though I am. It's only that it will not look good with the people.
It's forgotten already.
I hope it is. Nothing's ever forgotten.
Sorry about your uncle.
I made his son, by will.
Oh. Congratulations. You'll be wanting vengeance then?
At some point.
I'll be up for the duty, of course.
Hey, Pullo, I mean, I don't know how much authority you want to give him, but Pullo's loyal. I mean, well, first and foremost, he does look out for himself, but if you treat him well, you provide him with what he wants, which is sort of, he wants a nice life, some money, that kind of stuff. He's a loyal guy, he's a good fighter, he's a good guy to have on your side.
Undertaker's here. We're ready to go.
We must wait for the children.
They'll be back, brother.
Yeah, I think they have been otherwise disposed, as we saw earlier. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but...
I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have cursed them.
They'll be back, I'm sure of it, sooner or later.
I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it.
Hey. Hey. We've got to send Niobe on her way now. Can't leave it any longer, can we? Our son below will be vexed.
Good man. Good man, Pullo. And Vorenus, I mean, look, he acted impulsively, angrily. We have seen him do that before. He is a man who is typically, it's interesting. You look at the two, we've got Vorenus and Pullo, right? And there's sort of the duo where Vorenus is proper and steadfast, and believes in Republican values and all that, and Pullo is sort of more crazy and indulges and, quick to violence and all that kind of stuff. That is true, but we've seen Vorenus, he can be an emotional guy, right? He can be quick to anger and act impulsively at times. And that's what he did there, And, I mean, you totally sympathize with it, right? He's in a horrible situation, sort of in part, I'm sure he feels, obviously he feels guilty, right? In part of his own making, but also just the circumstances, right? If Niobe hadn't taken her life, he probably would have killed her. He didn't, but, that's there. And he did, essentially curse his family. But, this is a man that, after that anger has passed, can look back and understand the situation he's in and the mistakes he's made, right? He clearly still cares about Niobe, right? Oh, wow. Interesting. Niobe and Caesar, we got their deaths at the same time, and we're getting their funerals at the same time. Fascinating parallels. People, they loved him. And of course, that's exactly what that funeral is, right? It's not Antony wanting to honor his buddy. Maybe it's a little bit that, but come on, we know Mark Antony. It's a political play. He wants, for this memorial to be public, right? And to show everybody, especially Brutus and his co-conspirators, that Caesar was very popular. And Caesar, even in death, remains very popular. So he's saying to them, hey, take a note of this.
Grain monitor? I'm guy as earth, I want to be grain monitor.
It would give you reason to leave the city with dignity.
I have no intention of leaving the city.
A tour of the Asian supply ports would be the most natural thing in the world. Nobody could possibly accuse you of running away.
I have no intention of leaving the city.
Servilia, my dear, sorry about all this.
The situation has flipped a little bit. The political fortunes can change quickly. And that is very much what happened in the actual history of this event. Immediately after Caesar was murdered, all of Caesar's allies were essentially on the run, right? They had to either hole up or get themselves out of the city. It was extremely dangerous for them to be around. Chaos, violence. Also, they didn't know if they would be next, right? We've talked this whole episode about how the conspirators were divided. Do we just kill Caesar? Do we kill him and Antony? Do we do a wider purge? Once Caesar was killed, everyone on his side knew that as well. They were sort of waiting for further reprisals to come. But when that didn't happen, the conspirators, and they did control a certain degree of power, like literal manpower. But when those reprisals didn't come, and then we saw the negotiations occurred. Caesar's faction sort of managed to bring itself back in, cement its position. The situation begins to flip, where the public grows increasingly angry. Yes, the conspirators get amnesty, but amnesty only means so much if the whole city is growing increasingly furious at you, if Caesar's memory and legacy continues to grow. And by the end, the conspirators are the ones who are like, oh man, maybe I should get out of the city. It's becoming unsafe for me.
Got a bit carried away. Excellent speech, incidentally. It's perhaps a touch too cerebral for that audience, but...
Have you been offered any refreshment?
Some water would be lovely. Thank you. Please, speak sense to your son. Him and his friends must leave the city. I cannot answer for their safety.
Do not look so pleased with yourself. You're a liar and a breaker of oaths, and you've roused a rabble. Nothing more. A pantomime actor might have done what you did today.
Oh, really?
Lucky then it was me that did it, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Else you would now be on your knees sucking pantomime cock. I have no wish to abuse or humiliate you. I only wish you gone.
We're going nowhere.
No, not you, at least. The men shall leave. You will stay here in the city with me as my guest.
Hostage, you mean?
As you like.
You may wish as you will. We yet have all the Senate behind us and all the men of quality.
I love that. It's such a patrician attitude. And we've seen this throughout the show, right? We have this class of politicians, most of whom are of this patrician background. Now, not all of them, right? Not all of them. You know, this patrician plebeian divide may be less official than it once was, but it still very much remains. And these people, and this is what made Caesar so brilliant, right? A lot of these people of this class, they don't understand how to play to the public. Or at least they don't think it matters as much as it does. Caesar is an exception, right? He's a populist. That's how, he grows his popularity. Through military victory, frankly, some great PR, and his populism. He appeals to the public. That's why he was so popular, and that's why he remains so popular in death. Antony, this man's a soldier. He was Caesar's right-hand man. He understands this. That he understands. And he can use that to his advantage. And, being able to play to the public and have the public on your side is massively powerful, And Antony's saying to them, look, you have what you have your allies among the political class, and I have what I have, which is support among the public. And if it really comes down to it, I can mobilize that support forcefully and violently, and I will defeat you. Maybe if we're dealing with the intricacies of politics, you might have the upper hand, but I can mobilize these people, and even if I don't, I can still coerce you with the threat of that mobilization. So these guys, they're in a dangerous position. Now look, it's not like they hold zero influence. It is true that a lot of senators and a lot of, that patrician class beyond was very displeased with Caesar. They didn't like that he flaunted Republican principles, even though Republican principles were frankly crumbling before Caesar. I think more so, they didn't like that he played to the public, right? That he flaunted tradition in order to play to the public and be popular and all that sort of stuff. They hated that. They hated him for that. They hated his authoritarianism. And so, yeah, they do have a lot of powerful people on their side. So, like I said, it's not like they have no power, but they're just in a bad situation right now.
And I have an angry mob that will roast and eat your men of quality in the ashes of the Senate House.
It didn't go how you expected.
Ernest!
Verena!
They're not here.
Never mind. Just have to be patient. How about you make us a nice pot of porridge? We'll all feel better with some food inside us.
Verena!
Anyone here?
You can hear something.
Hush, it doesn't matter. Do you know where the children are run to?
I swear, only things I lent.
Do you know where the children are?
Speak!
Erastes Foreman took them.
Not this guy.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Oh, shut up. Get out of here. They've got bigger concerns. We've got to... I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very worried. This show has me worried often. Now, I will say, you know... I mean, I don't know what the timeline of this season is. I have heard that, you know, I think originally they wanted the show to be a bit longer, so they were a little rushed, and they had to cram a lot into this. You know, it is what it is. I think some people see this as a bit of a test run for something like a Game of Thrones. You know, this grand political drama. You know, Rome, you know, they were the first to do it. Not the first to ever do it, but they sort of set the mold. I will say, I mean, this episode has been great. I think they've done it very well. But you could take the events of this episode, the historical events, and frankly, that could be several episodes of this season. They've done well condensing it into one episode, but we actually saw a lot go down here. You know, we essentially dealt with the entire immediate aftermath of Caesar's assassination, and that aftermath in reality was a pretty complex web of chaos and negotiations and all that sort of stuff.
Oi, right, the place is fucking packed, yeah? It takes me half an hour to fight my way to the front, and up steps Brutus, right? And he goes, blah, blah, blah. The law this, and the republic that, and the 12 bloody tables. I couldn't understand half of it. Right?
Yeah, them one.
Well, I mean, that, by the way, shows you that, and you know, we don't want to stereotype the common man too much. There were certainly some among your average people who were very much invested in the traditions of the Republic, but I think, you know, from then to now, most people care about, you know, having somewhere to live, feeding themselves and their family, and keeping themselves and their family safe. You know what I mean? These are sort of basic human desires. And beyond that, a lot of people don't care too much about how that gets done, you know? So a lot of people hearing about the Republic this, the Republic that, they're like, I don't care. I liked Caesar. He gave us money. You know what I mean?
Rome for fucking Romans, eh?
Oh, great.
Flavio!
Oh, are they going in?
Stand scarce, shut that up! You want to fight, take it outside.
They're coming in swords swinging. Guess that's the ancient equivalent of guns blazing.
Flavio!
Fucking useless.
You're in trouble, my man. I think you're about to have a sword at your throat. Mm-hmm. Don't mess with Vorenus and Pullo.
My children. You have my children.
Hey? What the fuck you talking about?
You have my children.
This man is on the edge.
Led you, friend. Where are they? I don't know. Where are they? Flavio!
Flavio's not coming.
Dude, Vorenus, yeah, he's on the edge. In fact, he might be off the edge. You don't want to mess with him. They've murdered the whole place.
Here we are, then.
Where are they? Where are my children?
Will you have a little wine with me? No? Well, kiss my arse.
Tell him. If they're not harmed, you may yet live.
You think so?
Yeah, probably not. I would say they've lost a little bit of their negotiating power because he's not going to live. We know that. But I will say we've seen in the show Pullo pretty good at torturing, at least with Octavian directing him. So, you know, Erasmus, you've probably lost your life. I can't imagine you walk out of this alive, but there's more to lose, you know?
Tell him.
Nothing like a good Falernian grape, is there? You're not a bad sort of man, Vorenus. You just have too much anger in you.
Tell him!
I took your children in payment for your many slights to me. I fucked them, then I killed them, then I threw them in the river.
No way. That can't be right. I'm struggling to believe it, frankly. What? I honestly don't believe it. I think he's making it up. I mean, maybe I'm just in denial. We'll see. That cannot be the case. Vorenus lost his entire family in the course of 2 episodes. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I need to see some bodies to believe it. I'm not buying it, you know. But I mean, Vorenus has been told this. That man was, I've been saying he was on the edge. He's off the fucking deep end now. He's done for. Jeez Louise. Wow. Well, that was a great episode. You know, my goodness. You know, all the drama that we can expect usually keeps me on my toes constantly. I'm always very concerned what's going to happen to our characters. Yeah, that was another great one. You know, it's been a year since we finished the last season. I'm glad we're back, you know. I am very glad we're back. Yeah, I took a year off to go get a master's degree. I was pretty busy, but we're back now. We're going to be reacting to Season 2. Once again, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you want to see the full unedited reactions early, then check out the Patreon. It's linked down below. And if you're watching this on Patreon, I gotta say thank you. Thank you for all of the support, and I hope you are enjoying these episodes. With all that out of the way, I hope you guys are all having a good day today, and I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.